Thank you for your recent funding inquiry. I'm Amy from Energize, and over the next few minutes, I'll be talking you through some advice and guidance on funding opportunities, as well as top tips and some valuable funds to consider applying to. First things first, though, would strongly recommend thinking about what funding it is that you require. Is it funding for core costs, project costs, capital costs? Are you restricted by any delivery deadlines or completion dates? Have you thought about combining funding applications so that you're not having to write multiple? Can these be included under one umbrella application? And do you have that overarching figure of how much funding you require, including a budget breakdown? These are all really key questions to consider really early on in your funding search so that you can best direct your attention to appropriate funds. You don't want to be wasting your time at this stage. Secondly, you can start to pull together some paperwork and also pre-populate some responses to pretty generic questions that are asked by multiple funders. Paperwork-wise, you might want to pull together some kind of confirmation of your organisation structure, bank statements in the company name within the last few months, policies and procedures, including safeguarding policies appropriate to the audiences you're working with, as well as insurance policies. Generic questions wise, funders like to hear about your organisation in general, any project specifics or kind of funding specifics, where the investment is going. Really important around outputs, outcomes, but also evidencing demand and need. Really, why is this investment needed? So being able to demonstrate that and get that information on paper is really important. So I think we're ready to start looking at some funding opportunities. First things first, before we start looking at the opportunities we have available on the Energize website, it's really important to consider what funds your organisation might have applied to before. Are you eligible to be applied to those? It's always easier to have a conversation with a funder that you've had a positive experience with, if they've had a positive experience with yourself. Secondly, maybe thinking about other online databases. The good old Google search is also one to consider, as well as maybe chatting to other organisations about their experiences, whether positive or negative, with funders you might be considering applying to. Okay, so heading over to the Energize website then. From our landing page here, via supporting communities, you should be able to access funding available and funding opportunities to see a number of funds listed. We've also got our top tips, as mentioned, which I would definitely recommend having a look through, as well as a number of funding newsletters, which you can sign up to make sure you are keeping up to date with the latest information and funding opportunities. So any of the links included here will take you directly to that section of the webpage, and will include some information on that grant fund, as well as a link to their website and application page. Some funds that might be worth considering. If you're looking at bigger funders, we'd definitely recommend looking into the National Lottery, as well as organisations such as Veolia, and also Sport England, who have a really helpful fund searcher via their website as well. It might also be worth considering smaller funding opportunities, local community initiatives through organisations such as local Lions or Rotary groups, WI groups, as well as local businesses that might be able to offer sponsorship. There's also some local initiatives through kind of local supermarkets. For instance, Asda and Tesco and Spar currently have availability of grants. So do consider these options as well. Okay, hopefully that brief few minutes of information was useful. If you have any questions or queries, please don't hesitate to get in touch. But for now, happy funding hunting.